Hello, hello. Welcome to the channel Intake Talk Show, where we talk about just about anything and everything around mental health, and how what we intake through our experiences, life, and so on, relationships impact us psychologically. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you to the channel, and I invite you to hit that subscribe button if you desire to support what we're doing and you want to hear more. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. And if this is not your first time, then welcome back to the channel. And we thank you for your support if you've already subscribed. Now we're just going to move into the show, the part 2 of a cancer survivor's story with Miss Britney Caldwell, a breast cancer survivor, actress, and content creator. Again, I want to thank each of you for supporting the show by subscribing, by watching, by liking, by commenting. Thank you so very much. And I'm not going to hold you any longer. I want to get into the show, so let's start right now. Welcome back to Intake. I'm your host, Bertha Barrett. And again, I have with me Ms. Britney Caldwell. And we were just having an interesting conversation regarding the belief system. So my question to you is, have you always, been one to strengthen your belief system, make sure you guard it? I call it boundaries. You get those boundaries around your belief system to ensure that people don't affect how you view life or even yourself. Were you always this way?
Okay, I think that I have the gift of coming onto the planet as an optimistic person, right? I've always been like a glass half full kind of kid. Then to want to be an actor when you grow up is a kid who has to have a strong belief system,
Right.
because there will be naysayers. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, you would be good at that, but you won't be an actor, you know? But I think that to learn about like actually how beliefs work. My first real exposure was when I was 19. A friend of mine sent me a burnt DVD of The Secret, The Law of Attraction. And it changed everything about what I believed or how I believed. And whether The Secret was the actual way of like how the law of attraction worked or not, it let me know that there is something to keeping a positive mindset or focusing on what you really want the outcome to be. And that has been in play in my life for a long time now, 20 years. So having that gift sent to me was probably attracted from me believing that life should be great and that like good things happen to me and good people. I really believed that. And it was just more evidence. So from there, I just continue to create more evidence about how when you have a belief about something, it will play out that way.
Right. I love that. We're going to take a minute, and I want you all to watch this clip, and we're going to come back and talk about that.
Okay, so I'm headed to the barbershop so that I can cut my hair. I'm doing it in phases because who wants to wait for the chemo just to have your hair falling out?
Not me. So I made sure before I left Atlanta to go see Dee Dee, since she's been the one doing my red hair by a crack of 5 for the last few months. So what people don't understand is hair is so important to Black women, but also the relationships that you create with those who take care of that hair is just as important. Dee Dee entertains my antics whenever I show up, however I show up, just like she did this day. It was a moment of bonding for the both of us and me taking control in the areas where I can. And I loved it. I loved this little haircut. And it grew on me. And I realized I only had a little bit of time with it.
So in that moment in this court, when you decided to, okay, let me just start cutting the hair, where were you at mentally, emotionally in that space?
So it's funny because my best friend and I had cut our hair short a year before, but it was like still a long, short cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be a hairstylist for a long time, like I said before. And in Atlanta, I had a hairstylist that I've been going to. She would cut my hair. I had her do the first wave because not only am like I'm methodical, but I'm also very sentimental, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she has been a part of my journey with my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her to do the first step. And then the one who cut my hair all the way off in the video,
Mm-hmm.
he'd cut my hair the first time into the short haircut. So again, this is sentimental. My hair is coming off, and I want you to be a part of that because this is the hair coming off that we won't get to choose.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to not feel victim. I wanted to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of times through a cancer journey where you can feel like a victim to the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So every opportunity that I had to take action, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to be like, this happened at me.
Right.
Right. And I know
Right.
that that's not grammatically correct, but that's
Mm-hmm.
how it feels
I get you.
when things happen and you feel victimized by it. I didn't want to feel victimized by my hair coming out when I already know that it's going to happen. What's crazy is it still happened in a way that felt like it happened at me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you can prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
And although my hair was buzzed down short like that, first of all, I was just grateful that I had a nice head. Lord, thank you.
Right.
I was like, wow, super grateful that I'm buzzed and my head was shaped right. Who knows what this hair is shaped like under there?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually felt really pretty. Like, wow, I get to be pretty during this journey. Thank you, God. But 10 days after that, my hair actually fell out still.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out like coffee grounds. And no one can explain to you what that's going to feel like. I knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never been there before.
Right.
And you think my hair is so short, I'm not going to notice when it comes out. Girl. But those choices are really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine I hadn't cut my hair off on my own volition.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have came out in clumps from even a short hairstyle,
Mm-hmm.
my hair is very thick. It would have been a very different situation.
Right.
I would have felt different. Seeing your hair fall out like that makes you feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't allow people to say I was sick during the journey. I never said I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
I never said chemo. Chemotherapy brings up associations, beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? I follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, and one of the things that he says is a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So you say chemo. There are thoughts associated with that. Sick, bald-headed, pasty, ashy,
Mm-hmm.
skinny,
Mm-hmm.
wellness treatments.
Mm-hmm.
I had wellness treatments because this medicine is supposed to make me well.
Right.
And I'm going to be well so that I can enjoy my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not about to be victimized by a choice that I made. I had,
Right.
no, I didn't technically choose to get cancer, but I did choose to do chemotherapy because I just
Mhm.
told you I would have been out in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I made a choice, I'm not going to be a victim to it.
Right.
I get to have wellness treatments so that I can get better.
Mm. I love it. I love it. So I'm listening to you talk, and my brain is like everywhere, right? Based on the dynamics of our brain, we have the amygdala, our alarm system, the hippocampus, and all of it is beautiful. And I think what's important for most people to understand, specifically viewers listening to you talk about your journey, is how you can actually mold, because our brain is plastic, play-like. Mold your brain to help you navigate life in a positive way. So this hippocampus, it's like, when you're walking across the grass over and over and over again, you create a pathway, right? We call it a neural pathway. When you talk to yourself, either positive, not so positive, and you're constantly doing that, you're creating a neural pathway. When you expose yourself to positive, not so positive, again, you are creating a pathway. And what I'm hearing is that you chose to create a positive pathway. And believe it or not, when you create that positive pathway, oh my God, our body is so unique. What it does is it calibrates you. And so you start to now navigate, move into that positivity, right? And you know, okay, this is what's going on, but no, I'm not going to be the victim, right? I'm going to see life. And so I'm listening to you talk, and you and I talked about this earlier, and I think this is so key. I was diagnosed with lupus years ago. My hair had fallen out. It was right after my father had passed, and I was totally bald. Well, not bald. I had a little string of hair right here. It was so weird. I had a little string of hair, right, and totally bald. And the only people that knew was my husband, my 2 children, right? And I wouldn't tell anybody. My mother knew that my hair was falling out, but I wouldn't tell her to what extent, right? And they kept telling me I had lupus. And because I had this idea about the belief system, what I would do is I would sit on the floor and I gave my husband a brush, and he looked at me like a crazy. And I said, brush my hair. All I had was a little string right here. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm sure, just brush my hair. And I did like that. And he did it with me. So he just took my hair and we just brushed it. Like it was all down, right? Yeah. And because in my mind, I was like, no, my hair coming back. And there were several doctors that told me that my hair would never grow back. I fired them. I'm like, if you can't believe Britney, I don't need you to be my doctor. I fired them. And I kept speaking to myself, and I said, I can see the antibodies leaving my blood. I can see the antibodies leaving my blood. They're leaving my blood right now. And one day I went back to the doctor, confused, because I had on a lace wig, and the doctor looked like, wait a minute, she was bald the other day, right? And lay on his lace wig, and he comes in and he starts telling me about all the tests. And I'm like, no, get your antibodies, right? Because that was the only proof that they had that I had lupus. And he comes back and he goes, Miss Barrett, I just want you to know that it seems as if the antibodies are leaving your blood. That's all I needed to hear. I was like, yes, and I was like, okay, that's all I need to hear. He let me go, right? Years later, COVID happened, got sick, lungs totally messed up, hair started falling out again, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, COVID is really messing me up. And the doctors in the hospital kept looking at my record going, but you have lupus. And I was like, no, I do not have lupus. They cleared me. I do not have lupus. Right. And then I get here, see this beautiful African doctor, right? And she asks me questions, and she looks at my medical records and say, well, they never really ran the test for lupus. They were just looking at antibodies, and that's not the only test that you run. And so she's like, let me run some tests. She runs a test, and she said, you don't have lupus, but we need to figure out what this is. If something is going on, right? Sends me, I go get this eye test, and they were trying to see if I had Sjögren's. And one thing about Sjögren's, it dries out the joints, your eyes, your mouth, all of that, right? And so they had to literally numb my eye and do a kind of biopsy on my eye, like, right? And turns out my eye was so dry, it was crazy. And I had been complaining about this for years, that my eyes were dry. I would be somewhere singing and my throat would shut up because it's so dry. I was like, and my mouth would be dry. And nobody was ever looking at this. And so now in the same process, we're still losing hair and now understanding that I have Sjögren's and not lupus. And strangely enough, this is the first time I've ever said it out loud outside of my family, right? Lord Jesus, my other family gonna watch it and be like, what should we do? But so I get it because both times when they told me I had lupus, and now that they know for sure that I have Sjogren's, I don't tell people.
What is Sjogren's?
Sjogren's is a type of lupus.
Okay.
Right? And it's an autoimmune disease. I wouldn't really say lupus. It's in the family of lupus. And it does like any autoimmune disorder. Like your immune system starts to attack you rather than the antibodies, right? And so my immune system is fighting me.
Okay.
So for me, I have to be very careful about my stress, right? If I get stressed, you can automatically know because I have pain all in my body. And if I just do my hair like this, I can see it come out, okay. Right? And it dries the joints, your eyes, your mouth, but it also attacks your lungs.
So anything that's kind of juicy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because my immune system is overworking. It's constantly working and it's fighting everything. You know, instead of protecting me, it's fighting everything, right?
Which makes sense why COVID hit you harder.
Right. And I didn't know it because nobody really ever tested me the way they should have, right? So when they told me that over 70% of my lungs were just like crashed. Now, medically, I'm not supposed to be here. And when you tell people that. But because I sat in that hospital and I said, you know what, Lord, I know you got me. I wouldn't watch the news. I wouldn't listen to nobody could come see me anyway, right? Because it was COVID, so nobody could come in there, right? I listened to worship music, and I only listened to 3 songs. There was 3 songs that spoke to me, and I listened to those songs, and I just played them over and over and over again. And I refused to listen to any negativity whatsoever. I didn't want anybody calling me going, oh, baby. No, I'm like, no, we're not getting to that headspace because all I kept hearing is, you shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. That was all I kept hearing. And I kept hearing it and I kept saying it. And I was on that oxygen, I think, for about 2.5 years. Yeah. And just last week, my doctor finally said, you know what, your lungs look good, right? So I'll see you next year. I was like, okay, yeah. Right? Thank you. But her way of believing is so powerful because I knew if I had allowed somebody in that space to talk negative to me, like that fear that they had, it can so attach itself to you, right? And so I said that because the one time I did let this little cousin call me on the phone, because when I had the oxygen in my nose, right, and I just stopped the show, I went and did a little taping about, in my night clothes, telling people about COVID and to take it serious, specifically African-American people, because we weren't taking it serious and that you can get it. And I told the people on the camera, if you know me, if you know my number, please don't call me, right? I had to say that because I knew people were going to call me, right? And then they were going to say things to me that I didn't want to hear. So the one time I let this cousin call me, the first thing she said is, oh, poor baby. And I was like, okay, we will end this conversation real quick and not talk to her again until I'm better, right? Because I didn't see myself as this victim. I knew that I was getting off this oxygen. I was going to be okay, right? And I didn't want anybody to tell me otherwise. Okay. And I think that is important. So many people are struggling with these illnesses, regardless if it's mental, physiological, and it's important on how you believe around your condition. You don't have to be the victim, right? You have to see yourself in this healing space. I just want to pause again. I want you all to watch this clip because we're going to come back and talk about this, Britney.
What's up, guys? So I'm coming in today to show you how I do my sweet and sassy half up, half down. I believe that your hairstyles should match your attitude for that day. And tonight I'm going out with my friends and I wanted something sweet and sassy. So let's get to it. Here's what my inspiration was. So first you want to start by parting your hair from front to back. Just like that. Making sure your part is super straight. Next, you're gonna take your clips and make sure that you have that back part secure. Now we're gonna slick up this part. So I have it on my hand already. This is already clipped back. And we're gonna go straight up, right? To create that bun. Okay? And then take that excess hair and like wrap it around and just tuck. Got it? Now we want to use some foam. And make sure those edges are slicked. I like to make sure I have like a little design going here. You know, slicks are super cute. A lot of people like want baby hair, but I just like slicks. And then you want to tie that down with a scarf. And make sure you go under. Because you don't want to get all this part all weird. I'll be back. Now that I'm done sitting under the dryer, because my hair is natural, I don't really like, you know, this part being crispy crunchy. So I'm gonna scrunch this. See? Just get it a little bit wet like it was before, like how it was damp, because I don't want it to be all dry. And then, now that that is good, can do. Be careful taking this off. Slick. And for the finishing touch. She didn't have that, but I like it. How did I do? I'll show you the final look.
Okay. So in this clip, Brittany, I love this. My question to you is, when did you decide to use, you know, creativity, you know, to journal all of this? Because in this clip, like, no hair on the head, and you're doing it. Because when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, she gonna put a wig on. And then I saw you put that comb there, and I was like, oh my Lord. But it was uplifting. And I was like, okay, when did she decide to do this?
You know, it's just hopped in my brain. No, I told you I was a hairstylist for a long time. And I had been used to doing so many different styles on my hair. Even when it was short, I could still get it braided and do whatever. So this was the first time in my life that it was either you are bald or you have to wear a wig. And I didn't choose to wear wigs many times over the course of my journey. One, I was grateful that I had a nice bald head. But it felt like I was hiding. And that was something I never wanted to do. So on this particular day, I saw this clip of this hairstyle that I loved. And I was like, man, I wish I could do that right now. And it was funny to me. Right. And if there's nothing else, if you're going through something tough, laughter is the medicine.
Exactly.
Laughter is the medicine. It took me, I don't know how many times I burst out laughing while recording that, but it was so absurd. And I was just like, I enjoy it. Doesn't matter if anybody else does.
I love it.
It was hilarious to me. You know, it's not being a victim to my bald head. Right?
Right.
I'm not about to be shamed about that. Let me tell you. I decided. I got diagnosed on a Thursday. Processed Friday. On Saturday, I was back into my life, and I decided I would not be shamed into submission.
I love it.
Life as a Black woman, growing up, becoming a Black woman, there's a lot of things that they expect you to be shamed about. And the very first video that I did was that I would document everything that I could, and I would share it with other people, because I just become comfortable in my body. And I would not be shamed into being obscure because of whatever might change. I felt like there was an attack on my femininity as a woman, you know, like not only are they going to try to take my breasts, I would learn later that they're going to try to take everything else too. But it was just, it's almost like a rage against the expectation. I'm not hiding. And also, guys, there is life within and on the other side of cancer. Cancer does not mean death. People hear that, and it's your cancerous thoughts that make cancer death. It ain't cancer. Cancer can kill you. But how you handle the cancer, the thoughts behind it are the biggest thing, in my opinion. And so I'm saying this, and y'all take this with a grain of salt. I probably had the most fun time going through cancer than anybody could. It was not a bad time in my life. Is it a time that I would choose? No. I would not recommend or gift that to my enemies. However, in Britney's life, it was so bad. And I mean that.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of good time with people that I love. I got some clarity about what's important in life. Facing your mortality will do that if you have the right mindset.
Exactly.
But I healed. And I'm saying that because I had a strong belief that resentment cannot live in a healing body. So I had to heal all of these resentments that I had that I believe caused the cancer.
Right.
I believe that all of these things that I let fester in these relationships that I hadn't addressed, the issues, the anger I had toward my dad for not being there. All of those things, I started there. And as I started to release those things, it made life lighter anyway.
Right.
So I couldn't be mad at cancer for coming to show me something. And I also couldn't be mad at cancer because it wasn't my cancer, but it was a part of my body. People get this twisted. Your body created that. The cancer actually is a part of you. So if you hate the cancer, you hate yourself still. That's how we got here. I had to learn to love every single part of me, including the cancer. The cancer, not my cancer, the cancer.
Yeah.
But it was something inside of me. It was flowing, but it was something I created. I love me, and I love me, and I love me. And I love me enough to forgive others and myself. I had to forgive myself every day. Every day. Decisions I made. Thoughts that I've had. When a lot of it I knew better, I had to continue to forgive myself. So cancer and the journey to getting here, it was an adventure. But a lot of it ended up being a lot of fun because I released so much that would have still been weighing me down to this day.
Right.
And that's the key.
Ooh, that's the key. Learning how to really work on self, be honest with self, right? Because we do hear often cancer is internal, all of the things that you let fester, right? And it's nothing more than, again, an autoimmune disorder. Can I be honest with you? It's true. It's true. In that autoimmune disorder family, right? Because it's our immune system fighting back illness. And we've taken in so many things. So sometimes it is biological.
But how much of biology is influenced by your mind?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If it's mitochondrial dysfunction, if your mitochondria don't know how to think no more, then why? Because like your brain is one thing, but each of these cells have a little brain.
Exactly.
And they're all influenced by your feelings.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You don't have to come back and talk to me, by the way, because I'm loving this. No, I'm loving this. I may have to even extend this episode just a little bit because I'm loving this conversation with you because you're bringing up so many different things I think people really need to hear, because there are a lot of people out there experiencing various illnesses. And I like that you said the cancer, right? Not mine. You can't own it. You know, that's what people do. Some people say, well, you know, my anxiety, my depression, my what does they call it? Hypertension. Don't own it, because every time you own that thing, and I'm not saying be ignorant now, don't be aware of what you have, but I'm saying it's the way that you talk to yourself. You have to learn how to disconnect yourself from these diagnoses. You are not the diagnosis. She understood that she was not the cancer, right? And that's key. And that's all people like myself, hopefully, most people like myself, is helping people to do, is to change their mindset, understanding how powerful our thought process is, and how it affects our overall wealth. That is key. Learning how to talk to yourself, understanding how this body works, because you're real with that. We have neurons all throughout our body, okay? And every time we speak or take in information, there's a new neuron created. And every time we focus on that thing, it starts to expand. And all these other neurons now start being created, and they start communicating with each other all throughout the body, right? That's this beautiful thing when they talk about internal family system, IFS, this part work that they do in therapy. We're going to talk to the parts, right? Because you got a part here, you got a part here. And understanding these different parts and how they help you navigate life and heal from trauma and different things. And so people need to understand that we're whole people, different parts. But most importantly, how do you talk to those parts? Because you hear you first. It's your thought process, right? It's your emotion. You hear you first. And understanding how not to take in all of this information. We did in the first episode, coming back, you know, to watching the show, it was on what are you input, right? To help people understand is really about what it is that you are allowing to come into the process here of your cognitive, even what you're saying to yourself, past experiences, current experiences, relationships, illnesses, family, friends. Oh, and I have to be right back. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about this and come back. If you are a professional or someone with a story and would like to be a guest on the show, go to our website, intaketalkshow.com, and complete the form to be a guest. Perhaps you are someone with a question or comment that you would like addressed on the show. Again, go to our website, intaketalkshow.com, and complete the contact form. I hope to see you soon. And remember to continue to talk about mental health and how to make yours a priority. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did doing it. It was so interesting, so empowering that I had to extend it. Extend it a little bit more than I would do normally. But I hope you would join me next week as we finalize this interview with Miss Britney Caldwell in part 3, as we go on this journey with her and this powerful story and how she used creativity, positivity to help her through her healing process with breast cancer. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and support what it is that we're doing. And I hope to see you next week. Have a great one.